It's time to lock in. We're talking SEC, college football, and more. This is AP as we see it.
I'm all about that action. I'm all about that action. I'm all about that action. I said I'm all about that action.
I'm AP Stedham from LA, Lower Alabama. This is AP as we see it, a syndicated weekly 1-hour show discussing the Southeastern Conference, keeping an eye on the national college football scene and other sports. Welcome to another edition of AP as we see it. And I'd like to direct you to our social media platforms on our Facebook, Instagram, X account, our YouTube channel, and Spotify as well. And that could be found at AP as we see it, and also at AP Stedham. Our video broadcast is on our YouTube channel at AP as we see it, and the archive audio version is on Spotify at AP as we see it. We'd like to welcome our sponsor, Greer's Markets, and thank them for their support all these years. 29 locations, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi, serving the Gulf Coast and beyond for 110 years. They have Lucy's famous recipes that are online, or you could buy her book at the store and online as well. Remember, family, friends in football, basketball, baseball, sporting events, NFL, drafts, all the important gatherings that you have with your family and friends. Remember, that's a winning tradition at Greer's. You can score big savings on fresh meats, produce, and more, all for your game day spreads. If you can't make it down to one of the 29 locations, click on the groceries to go. They'll deliver to your home, your office, your venue of choice. And remember, have the coloring contest for the children. You can drop by and collect those items where they can enter. And remember to check the online ads, the weekly, for those special savings. And they have something new now, Greer's Gold. Those are weekly digital coupons. You scan the code or click on the link. You can go to their Facebook page or on their website as well. So that's Greer's Gold weekly digital coupons for those big savings that you can get from Greer's Markets all across the Gulf Coast and beyond. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. So let's look at our show. We're going to have a fun episode for you. We're going to speak about the 2026 NFL Draft that was held in Pittsburgh. And also the NCAA has the men's and women's basketball expansion proposal that should take effect for next season. So we're going to discuss that. And then we're going to bring up Arkansas Athletics. The director of athletics for the University of Arkansas made a critical decision for two teams, one on the men's side, one on the women's. He's going to eliminate those. So we're going to discuss that. So that'll be our first segment, and segment 4. Our special guest we're going to have on the show, and we do things beside, like I say, other sports and other levels of football. Our special guest is going to be Ted White from Howard University. He's the head coach. He was a star quarterback at Howard University. He's coached on the collegiate level for Power 4 teams, UCLA. He's been a coach with the Houston Texans of the NFL, the University of Maryland as well, but he's taken over at his alma mater and trying to lead them to victories this fall. So Ted White, from Howard University, the head coach, he will be our guest for segments 2 and 3. But anyway, let's get to our show. I visited and covered the NFL draft in Pittsburgh this year. It was the first time it was held in Pittsburgh since 1947 for the 48th season. We had excellent food, outstanding access, and of course the SEC was heavily involved. You know, this is the 20th year that the SEC recorded the most draft picks in the first round. They led the country with 87. Now, remember, they picked up a couple teams, Oklahoma and Texas, a few years ago. So there's 16 teams. So they had a record 87 draft choices to lead the country. And they broke their own record of 79 that was broken last year. The second place was the Big Ten at 68. Third was the ACC with 38. And they're tied with the Big 12. They had 38 as well. On the independent side, you had Notre Dame with 6 and UConn with 1 for 7. The American Athletic Conference had 4. The MAC had 4. The Mountain West had 3. The Sun Belt 2. Missouri Valley 2. The Southland 2. And Conference USA 1. As far as the individual schools, Alabama and Texas A&M, they were tied at 10 apiece. Total drafts in 2026, Georgia had 8. LSU, Florida, and Texas all had 7. Missouri, Oklahoma had 6. Auburn had 5. And so did Tennessee. Arkansas and Kentucky had 4. South Carolina 3. Mississippi State and Ole Miss 2 apiece. Vandy had 1. Now that's a surprise if you look at this list. Not that Alabama had 10 and Texas A&M 10, but that Ole Miss, they made the college football playoff, yet they just had 2 players drafted. I think that's a significantly low number for a team that made the collegiate playoffs this year. The NCAA playoffs earned a berth, so that was kind of unique. Just going over some of the other conferences, Ohio State led their Big Ten with 11. The Big 12 was led by Texas Tech, had 9. Of course, Independence, Notre Dame had 6. Navy had 2 out of the American Athletic Conference. Toledo had 2 out of the MAC. The Mountain West, they were tied. San Diego State University and Boise State both had 1, and New Mexico had 1. The Sun Belt, Georgia State had 1. Louisiana had 1. Missouri Valley, North Dakota State University had 2. And then the Southland, you had Southeast Louisiana with 1. And Stephen F. Austin had 1. The Conference USA, Middle Tennessee State University had 1. A couple other significant records that were established. Alabama has the national record now, 18 consecutive years with a first-round draft choice. That's 18 consecutive years. Alabama had someone taken in the first round. They broke that record. Miami had the record at 14. And then the second national record that was established also by Alabama was 10 consecutive years where there were minimum of 2 players selected in the first round. And the prior record was Miami at 8. So Alabama broke 2 University of Miami records for the draft. The 18 consecutive first rounders and the 10 consecutive years with 2 players selected in the first round. So you have the NFL draft that was well organized, and we had a good time covering those events. One thing about the SEC surprised me that they beat out the Big Ten by 19, because there was some creeping up by the Big Ten. Last year, I think it was 79-71. The SEC was 79. The Big Ten was 71. And remember now, the Big Ten has 18 teams, the SEC only 16. But the SEC still had the most with 87 draft choices this year from the NFL draft held in Pittsburgh. There was a couple. Ty Simpson was a surprise draft choice taken in the first round by the Los Angeles Rams. And that was kind of a surprise to some other team, but it only takes one person, a general manager, a head coach, an assistant coach, the owner to like you. So congratulations to Ty Simpson for being selected in the first round. By position, I just wanted to go over some numbers as well. In the NFL draft, there were 10 quarterbacks selected, 3 from the SEC. There were 13 running backs, which is an all-time low in the modern common draft, which is since 1967, 4 from the SEC. There were 36, a record high, wide receivers taken in the draft, 11 from the SEC. There were a high of 22 tight ends, and we always mention this on the show. Tight end is the most favorable position because that matchup is so difficult for safeties and linebackers to cover the tight end. It's usually like a big power forward in basketball. They're usually 6'3" or above, athletic, and run. And if you get the right tight end, you have such an advantage with your offensive scheme. But anyway, that's a record high 22. Tight ends were selected. 6 were from the SEC. Offensive tackles, 22, 9 from the SEC. Guards, there were 20, 2 from the SEC. Centers, 11, 4 from the SEC. Defensive ends, 26. There were 6 from the SEC. Defensive tackles, there were 16, 6 again from the SEC. Linebackers, 24. There were 7 from the SEC. Cornerbacks, there were 27, 6. I think that was a kind of a low number to be taken by the SEC. Safeties, 19. There were 7 taken by the SEC. And if you look at the numbers, the most players selected from the SEC by position was amongst that wide receiver number of 36. There were 11. Second was the offensive tackles with 9. And then there was the 7 by the linebackers, and 6 by the cornerbacks, the defensive tackles, defensive, and 7 by the safeties as well. So that's just a rundown of by position players selected in the NFL draft, and we could see it was a low number for quarterbacks this year, only 3 and 1 from the SEC. Now we have to also mention Diego Pavia. He was a finalist for the Heisman. It's been since I think 2014 since a Heisman finalist, which is the top 3. I think that's they're considered maybe 3 to 5, was not selected, but he signed a contract with Baltimore for 3 years as a undrafted free agent. So he signed a contract. And then Garrett Nussmeier was taken in the 7th round by the Kansas City Chiefs. So that was something that was a bit of a surprise because he was projected. And I don't follow all those projections. I don't believe it till I see it. He was projected for one of the first or second round. He had a cyst on his back, so maybe that affected the selection of him. But anyhow, we will be back in the next segment 2 and 3, with our very special guest, Ted White, the head coach of Howard University, the Bisons. He's a 1998 graduate, played the quarterback position, has coached on all levels of football, most recently at the University of Maryland and UCLA, and also the Houston Texans. So we'll be right back after these messages with another segment of AP as we see it. Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greers.com and use Groceries to Go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. And we're back with AP as we see it. We have a very special guest, a friend. Now he's a friend of the show, Ted White, the Howard University head coach in his first year. Ted, welcome to AP as we see it. Glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm glad for you to have me.
Ted, you had an exciting last couple of weeks with the spring practice and organizing your team. How have you established the culture, and what is the culture for Howard University?
Well, the culture is not what we put on walls or what we put on board, but it's the habits that you form. So I've been able to come in along with my coaching staff and do a great job of just establishing the culture, how things are going to be done moving forward. And we've been really blessed for the kids to buy in. It's been early morning meetings. It's been early morning practices. And to my prevail, it hadn't been any misses. It's been early morning workouts as far as weightlifting, and the kids have bought in. The kids have loved the atmosphere, and they're really giving us an opportunity to be successful as we move forward towards the fall.
Mm-hmm. Now, you had your spring game recently. What would you like to tell your fans, your alumni, and all the Howard University faithful about your spring game?
The spring game was awesome. When I got in, I wanted to explain my vision to VP Kerry Davis, who was our AD, and he has done an excellent job just giving me support and just supporting my vision. And we have really collaborated on what we want this team to look like. And as we started to put everything together and we talked about the spring football game, we wanted to make it family, friends, and alumni day. And it went in conjunction with the Spring Fest. So if you know anything about DC, you know about the go-go bands. So we had Backyard Band to come perform with the HU Showtime Band. I thought it was important that we actually bring someone that was raised in DC. So we brought Lamont Roach, who's one of the famous boxers, to be an honorary coach. And I thought it was really important because when I went here to Howard and we won here on a consistent basis, the community felt part of what Howard University was doing from an academic standpoint as well as an athletic standpoint. And I wanted to get the community involved. And I feel like it's really important that we have a brand here at Howard and we have something to sell. So just giving the community something that they can hold on. So if we win, hey, the community wins. And the kids feel to support. Actually, the spring game for the first time, it was sold out. So
Wow.
It was an awesome atmosphere. The weather permitted for the spring game. The band was here. Again, it was a sellout. A lot of alums, a lot of family, a lot of friends came out. We had recruits that came in that was really amazed by the atmosphere, and it was a great time. The kids performed well. It wasn't a sloppy football game, and the kids had an awesome time along with everybody, with their family, friends, alumni who were watching.
Sounds like Showtime in DC. Sounds like a fun opportunity. I tell you, you're luring me as you discuss all of these activities. I'd like to be there myself. Ted, when you discuss football teams, as you know, you played the quarterback position exceptionally well for Howard. What can you say about your quarterback position as it stands right now?
Well, we have really 4 guys that are competing for the job. We got a kid, Isaiah Freeman, who would be here for the first session of summer school, who's a transfer from Hampton University. We have Jay-Sean Scroggins, who's a grad transfer, who's been here for 3 years. Guy who has some skins in the game. You know, he's played here at the quarterback position, but he's an experienced guy that we really can depend on. We got Terrell Hawkins, who has done a great job of just being that reliable guy for us at the quarterback position. And then we signed another guy this past mid-year, Preston Wright, who really can compete for the starting job. Here at Howard University, we would definitely have a premium on the quarterback position. Our quarterback coach, John Thomason, has done a great job with those guys, along with my help, just making sure that those guys develop the right way. And anytime that you're talking about a winning team or someone who's able to win on a consistent basis, you've always had consistent quarterback play. And we want to be able to have that here at Howard University. When you think about great quarterback play, not only in the MEAC, but just in college football, we want people to look at Howard University as a stepping stone to make sure that they understand exactly if you wanted to have an opportunity to go to the National Football League, all right, we want to look at the Howard tape and we want to see exactly how those quarterbacks play.
Ted, the quarterback, that's a prime importance for your team, but he needs support like everybody. So who are some of the people on the perimeter, maybe the tight end, running backs, who will be influential in your offense being successful?
Well, for one, we have Eden James. Eden James is Edgerrin James' son. We have him as one of our top running backs that are coming back. Samaj Pierre, a receiver that we have that transferred from the university, not from the university, but from Rice University. We have Gwan Price, an offensive line who has done a tremendous job for us this past spring, who's transferred from Norfolk State. So we got some guys that really are able to help the quarterback position in the leadership role off the field, but also able to help him reach the plateau that he needs to reach to on the field also.
For folks who are listening to this broadcast, Ted, how would you describe your offense? Just some specifics about how you attack teams. Not everything, of course, but just in general.
We're multiple. We're multiple. We want to be able to change tempos to apply pressure on defenses, but most importantly, for us, it's thinking players over plays. We want to make sure that we're able to feature our playmakers, to get the playmakers the ball and allow the quarterback's job to be a little bit easy. We feel like we have some playmakers that can really allow us to be in games, to possibly win them at the end. But it's a quarterback-friendly offense. We're able to go in and out of different tempos just to make sure that we're able to put pressure on defenses.
What about some of your leaders on defense, switching to the other side of the ball, Ted?
Caleb Gallup is a guy who is one of our leaders, but he plays the safety position. Ben Chandler is one of our corners who does a great job in just making sure that he gets everyone lined up, but plays with the type of intensity that we would love to play here at Howard University. And then Nigel Cross. Nigel Cross is the younger brother of Nick Cross, who's starting safety with the Washington Commanders. And he transferred here to from the University of Maryland to here to Howard. And he has done a tremendous job, not only on the field, but off the field also, just making sure that he lead guys in the right way.
Mm-hmm. How would you describe your defense, Ted?
Our defense is real aggressive. We want to make sure that we make the quarterback position uncomfortable. And Coach Kashawn Jarrett has done a great job of just getting a foundation on what we want to do in the spring. The guys really respect him. They really love just the teaching progression that he has and putting in the defense. And I'm excited to see exactly what direction we're going this season because these guys are really pumped up with what we've seen in the spring.
Last 2 minutes of this segment, Coach. What about the special team? So important at the end of the game, particularly.
Special teams is great. We have Antonio Hunter, but we also have Savage Pierre as our punt and our kick returner. But Keith Burns is a Tennessee State alum, but he's a guy that coached in the NFL. He's my special teams coordinator, along with Mike Andrews, who's our assistant special teams coordinators. Those guys have done a great job of just first and foremost getting guys to play special teams. You know, when you play special teams, you don't get all of the publicity that the offensive, defensive guys get, but you got to want to play special teams. And those guys have done a great job of just making sure that they lay the foundation down to get those guys to play the Howard way.
Mm-hmm. Coach, you got a big game to start the season in Atlanta, Georgia. It's the MEAC SWAC Challenge. Can you tell the fans and the alumni and all the folks listening how they can be a part of that special event in Georgia to start the season?
This is going to be one for the books. Howard University versus Alabama A&M in Atlanta, Georgia for the SWAC MEAC Challenge. It's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere. The guys are pumped up for it. The game will be on ESPN and ABC. I think it'll be explosive on both sides of the ball, and we're just looking to go in and play our brand of football. And if we play our brand of football and we enjoy the process, I think the end will take care of itself. So I'm looking for Bison Nation to come to Atlanta. I'm looking for Bison Nation to show up and show out and just support our guys as we try to get this victory in Atlanta.
Coach, you're going to have your band there.
We're gonna have our band there, and we call it HU Showtime Band for a reason. Chandler Mills, who's another guy from Louisiana, he does a great job with the band, and we've been in collaboration since I got here. He's done a great job for me, not only showing up at the press conference, but he showed up for me at the spring game, and I know he'll have an opportunity to show up for me in the Atlanta game too. So I'm excited to see exactly what type of halftime show those guys will have. I won't have an opportunity to see it because we'll be making adjustments, but I know he'll have an awesome time of being able to give the fans exactly what they want to see.
Coach, they can get their tickets online, call the athletic department. Those are the couple ways that they can obtain
you get your tickets online. If you go on the Howard University website at www.howardathletics.com, you're able to get your tickets to the Atlanta game. And I think you're able to get it also with the SWAC MEAC Challenge website also. But it's going to be a fun-filled game. I know they'll have some giveaways, but it's going to be a really good game for the fans to have an opportunity to watch.
And we'll be right back with our special guest, Ted White, the head coach of Howard University. We'll be right back after these messages with another segment of AP as we see it. Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greers.com and use Groceries to Go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. And we're back with AP as we see it, and our very special guest, Ted White, the head coach of Howard University, the Bisons. Coach, I wanted to give you a chance. You're my first HBCU head coach I think we had on my show. So
that's a blessing.
Yeah, so I want you to tell people about that experience at Howard University and with the different things that have been happening in college athletics, the NIL and the transfer portal, but just to give folks an idea of college football at the HBCU level, if you would.
Listen, I'm a proud graduate of Howard University, class of 1998. Howard University sits in the middle of Washington, D.C., which is about 10 minutes from the White House. We're in the most powerful city in the country. So when you think about Howard University, you think about all of the alums, whether you're an actor, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're a political figure, whether you're an athlete, because we have an opportunity to not only excel from the academic realm, but get a chance to excel from the athletic realm also. And I've been blessed to not only graduate from Howard University, but have an opportunity to go to the National Football League from Howard University. I've had an opportunity to coach at Power Fours, had an opportunity to coach in the NFL, and now just having an opportunity to come back as a head coach and pour back into these student athletes to give them the same opportunity that I once had here at Howard University. So when you talk about Howard University, you talk about a brand. You talk about a brand that's second to no other school around the country. All right. And when you think about Howard University, you think about excellence, not only excellence in the academic side, but excellence in everything that we do. All right. So we created, when you talk about the NIL space,
Yes.
that's the atmosphere. That's the atmosphere that we're in right now. You have to pay to play. And Howard University VP Kerry Davis, who's our athletic director, has stepped up to the plate. He stepped up to the plate, and we do have NIL money, but I've also created the 1867 Flight Club Collective, which is a tax-deductible collective that's going to be able to retain, recruit, and support our student athletes. So we've been successful with a lot of alums being able to donate to the collective just to make sure that if any other schools wanted to try to come recruit our players, that, you know, we have the backing, the financial backing to make sure that these guys stay here at Howard University for a great experience.
Mm-hmm. Coach, I know you mentioned coaching in the NFL, coaching at the Power Four level, and also with HBCU. So all those experiences, how has it shaped you as a coach, and what are some of the things you brought from each entity?
Well, it shaped me as a teacher. When I graduated from Howard University, I graduated from the school of education. I wanted to be a teacher, all right? But having an opportunity, all right, to just be around different coaches, being around the Andy Reeds, being around the Eric Bieniemys, the Pep Hamiltons, the Jimmy Rays, the Doug Williams, all of those guys have really shaped me into the person that I am today, from an organization standpoint, from a teaching progression standpoint, and just a developer. All of those guys that I just named, and I know I'm forgetting some guys, but all of those guys that I just named, they were hard workers. They were blue collar workers, and they make sure that whatever player that they were able to encounter, that player was being able to live up to his full potential by being underneath those coaches. And that's what we want to do here at Howard University.
Those are all notable names in the NFL and the collegiate level as well, Coach. Looking at your schedule, I notice, and Coach, I have to ask you, who scheduled this particular game? You traveled to Bloomington, Indiana on the 12th of September, the reigning national champion.
You know what, AP? I'm excited about it. The kids are excited about it. And what other place to go on the road other than to play the national champions? All right. And yeah. I'm excited to see exactly how we match up against those guys and what type of challenge we have. We know, you know, the odds are going to be against us, but we're not going to back down from anyone. We're going to put our best foot forward, and we're going to see exactly what type of team that we have. So when the kids saw the schedule and we actually talked about it during the spring, they were excited about it. They were excited about it, that they get an opportunity to play against the best players in the country. All right. And it's going to be an electric atmosphere. It's going to be phenomenal for our players to get an opportunity to play at something like that, to see exactly how we match up.
Coach, you've been around a while, but that has to be an allure to players to look at that schedule and say, not only do we play the HBCU schedule and other teams, but we also have the national champion. I mean, that has to help you in the recruiting, does it not?
That does help us in recruiting. All right. And again, Howard University is a brand. So the first game, as we mentioned, is going to be on ESPN and ABC. We play our second game against Richmond, who's coming here to Howard University on a Saturday afternoon. And then we get a chance to play some Big Ten football, get a chance to go to Indiana. We get a chance to go to Rutgers. All right, and see exactly how do we match up against those guys. And then we have an opportunity after that Big Ten schedule to go now play Hampton University, which Hampton and Howard is a big rivalry that we
Big
have
rivalry,
here
yeah.
in Washington, D.C. So it's really going to be an electric atmosphere. So we're looking at those first 5 games and saying, okay, this is really going to be a great challenge for us, but the kids are up for the challenge.
Mm-hmm. Coach, as an eclectic schedule, you play University of Pennsylvania as well in October.
We played the University of Pennsylvania in October in Philadelphia, and then we get an opportunity to go into our conference game. So we really got to be hitting on all cylinders, and those will be some really good testing games for us to see exactly how do we match up towards the end of the season as we get into conference play.
Mm-hmm. Coach, any other thing that we should mention about your team? I was going to ask you about your coaching staff. You mentioned some of the names, but what are the characteristics you look for when you're trying to sign up assistant coaches?
Well, it was really a detailed approach, the way that I approached this whole deal when I wanted to hire my coaches. I feel like I have one of the best coaching staffs in the country, not just college, but NFL also. It was important for me to make sure that I got guys that were great teachers. All right, guys that were great teachers, guys that were great developers, guys who had various backgrounds and understood how to connect with players. That's important to me. So as you go not only to Howard University, but any lower level Division I school, you're not going to always get the best players. So you got to make sure that those guys or coaching staffs or members of your coaching staff are able to develop. They're able to develop. They're able to make the hard things simple, all right, and have the teacher progression that allows not only the starter, but the second and third guy to develop also.
Mm-hmm. Coach, you're back in college coaching now. What do you like about college football now? Some of the changes that have been made, and anything you'd like to tweak?
No, I love college. I love just coaching ball in general. But in college, you get a chance to connect with the players. You get a chance to see a 17-year-old kid now go from being a freshman to a sophomore, and from a sophomore to a junior, and now to potentially fulfilling his dreams and playing in the NFL. That's the gratification part of being a college coach. And not only that, you have an opportunity to see a kid graduate. And now after he fulfills his dreams and playing in the NFL and he goes into the working world, he's able to come back with his family and his kids and say exactly what this coach has done for me. So that's the gratification part of just making sure that you have the connection with the players here in college. In the NFL, it's a little bit different because everything is transactional. You know,
Yes.
a guy can be there and one day and then the next day he's gone. So you really don't have an opportunity to develop a true relationship with the guy in the NFL because of the business side of it. But in college, because of the recruiting aspect, you get an opportunity to make a connection with those guys.
Mm-hmm. Coach, the last couple of minutes here on the recruiting, your philosophy, when you're looking at your current roster, how would you say that's constituted? Is it more regional? And would you like to get to all the 50 states, or what is your philosophy about recruiting?
Whenever we go out recruiting, we look at 3 things. We look at from a character standpoint. Does this kid do everything that we ask him to do? Is he a guy that we got to really look after when he's off the field? We got to look at his social media to make sure that everything that he's doing on social media aligns with everything that he's doing on the football field. We look at it from an academic standpoint, making sure that he has an opportunity to come in here and be successful, and are we surrounding him with the right people just to make sure he has an opportunity to graduate first and foremost. All right. And then third, we look at the athletic part. All right, making sure that he's able to match up with the guys that we have around the country to give us the best opportunity to win football games.
Mm-hmm. Coach, about 45 seconds here. What would you like to say to all the fans and the alumni and all the Bison faithful around the country and the globe?
I just want to say that I would love to see the Bison Nation storm Atlanta, Georgia on August the 29th. It's going to be an electric atmosphere. The kids are excited about what's to come throughout the season. And I just feel like that these kids are working their butt offs just to make sure that they put a great product on the football field. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised exactly how we from an offensive and a defensive side, as well as special teams, right, that we really succeed and do a great job this year. So I'm hoping that the fans will come out, they will support us, and make sure that we have an opportunity to be successful.
Hey, we want to thank Coach Ted White, the head coach of the Howard University Bisons. He's an outstanding alumnus of the school himself, as playing the quarterback position, award-winning, and he's been an excellent coach at many levels. But back to his alma mater. Hey, Coach, we wish you a lot of luck, and thank you so much for being on AP As We See It. And we'll be right back after these messages. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greers.com and use Groceries to Go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. And we're back with AP As We See It, and we'd like to thank our guest, Ted White, the head coach of the Howard University Bisons. For those of you who like to check out his team, they're playing in that first week in Atlanta, the MEAC SWAC Challenge. So if you have a chance to be in Atlanta that weekend, I'm sure Coach would appreciate you dropping by. But I want to thank Ted White and wish his Howard University Bisons the best for the upcoming seasons. We also like to thank our sponsor, Greer's Markets, 29 locations, Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the Gulf Coast and beyond for 110 years. Remember, they have the Lucy's Famous Recipes online, and you could buy her book as well in the store and online. Family, friends, and football, basketball, baseball, NFL draft, all of the sporting events and other special occasions, the holidays, the birthdays, the anniversaries. That's a winning tradition at Greer's. You can score big savings on fresh meats, produce, and more for your game day spreads. If you can't make it to one of the 29 locations, please go to groceriestogo.com and you can have it delivered to your home, your office, your venue of choice. They have the coloring contest for the children, and they have the weekly ads, so you can look for those as well on their website. But there's something new that they have we want to announce this week. It's the Greer's Gold Weekly Digital Coupons. You could scan the code or click on the link, go to their website or their Facebook page, and take advantage of all those digital coupons. And remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. So let's continue with the show. We were discussing the NFL draft in our segment number 1. And the SEC, once again, was the leader 20 straight years, which is, I don't believe that will be duplicated, 20 straight years of having the most players selected in the NFL draft as a conference. And remember, they don't even have the most teams. They have 16. The Big Ten has 18. That's usually their biggest rival as far as the NFL draft, normally. But anyhow, something new on the NCAA basketball landscape for the men's and the women, and it's really inevitable. They are having the expansion. They're going to move from the 68 teams that they have now to 76. That's with the men and the women. You usually have those 4 teams that are in Dayton, Ohio for the play-in game, but now it's going to be 12 teams. So you have 52 teams that will be slotted. 52 teams that will be slotted, and you have the 12 teams with those games, 12 games with 24 teams. So you're looking for the other 12 teams. So you're going to have 6 games in Dayton, and then there's a site probably in the Pacific, the Mountain Central Time Zone for the other 6 teams to be played on Tuesday and Wednesday. So we knew this was going to happen. Just to give you an example of the amount of teams that will be eligible to earn a berth, there's 365 men's basketball teams, Division I. So 76, that's about 21%. And the women's just about the same, 363 women's Division I teams. So 76, that's 21% as well. So that'll give you an indication of the participation they're looking for. But really, people will say it's a money situation where the NCAA is trying to generate revenues. That's true, yes. But from what I can understand and what's been reported, the additional sponsors, opportunities that will pay for all the logistics for the travel with these other 8 teams. But really, and this is the part that I tend to not care for it as far as the reasoning. They're trying to get more Power Four teams into the NCAA tournament. And I'd rather not see a team with 16, 17 losses, 15 losses get into the tournament, because they've had all season, as I've explained many times, to earn a berth by playing against top level talent in their own conference, and they're just not good enough. But at the NCAA, they're pushing to have these Power Four teams be part of the process and earn a berth in the NCAA March Madness for the men's and the women. And just like it seems to be in the world, they take care of the people at the top. They lax to take care of the people who are in the middle or play in the lesser conferences. I'd like to see some teams out of the non-Power Four make the tournaments more Cinderella types to give them a chance to earn some money, and especially if they had a great record, undefeated in their conference, let's say, and lost prior to their league championship. And that happens a lot of times. Just a couple losses, maybe they're undefeated in their conference, lose in one of the first round or semifinal games in their conference championship. So they're not selected because you have to win your conference to get the automatic bid. But anyway, that's what's happening on the men's and the women's with the NCAA basketball. It'll be all the 16 seeds, and half of the 15 seeds will make up some of those 12 games. So, like I said, the expansion becomes solvent because they're going to be lenient with the advertisers. You're going to see some advertising that you have not witnessed before. The different clients that they're going to allow to bid for that advertising to be a little bit different, but they're looking to generate revenue because the NCAA, they own the men's and women's basketball team, and that's how they generate 95% of their revenue through the years. Now, in 2011, the tournament was 65, went from 65, and they added the 65 to 68. It was a 64, and they added the 4 teams in 2011. In 2001, they added the 65, but now it's going to be the 76. So they've met with their TV partners. They're trying to generate more money because they're having more teams, but there's going to be an opportunity. So there's going to be 52 teams, which are auto-slotted into what's called the main bracket. Those are the first and second rounds on Thursday and Friday. And then you have those 24 teams slotted into the Tuesday and Wednesday games. So you're going to see 76 teams for March Madness on the men's and the women's side. Now, because they were strapped for cash, that's why they had to be so lenient with the advertisers, different types of advertisers during allowed. I noticed one thing at the Final Four when I was there this year in Indianapolis. They eliminated the media seats behind the basket, and they sold those seats to sponsors. So it's already happened that they were looking for cash. So it affected our coverage because we were assigned to seating that was not behind the basket like normal. So that was something different at the NCAA Final Four, the men's Final Four. I was not at the women's, but so that's what's going to happen. They're expanding. Does it matter? My opinion, I don't mind the expansion so much as that they're trying to shoehorn these other teams from the Power Four that aren't very good in the conference, maybe way below a 500 record, and they're trying to let them earn a berth to the NCAA March Madness tournament instead of having the non-Power Four conferences who have some good teams, and you'd like to see those Cinderella stories. But that's their decision. Like I said, that's the way the world operates, it seems. The people at the top are taken care of, the entities at the top are taken care of, and everybody else is subjugated to whatever crumbs are left available. But that's the sad state of affairs, but that's the situation. Now I want to just briefly get into a situation at the University of Arkansas. The director of athletics is Hunter Urachek, and he made the decision that the men's and women's tennis team will be eliminated. The men's team has been around for 71 years. 71 years they've been there. And the women's team for 46 years. And they approached the coaching staffs and told them their programs were being disbanded. And they did not consult the coaches to seek additional revenue funds. excuse me, which I thought was short-sighted. For instance, I'll just give you an example. The Arkansas football program, they're fourth in ticket sales in the SEC. That's pretty high up in a conference of 16, and they're not a big state, but they have that one program, in the state, in the SEC. So they felt that that $2.5 million, which would serve both teams, they felt that was critical to eliminate that $2.5 million when they have a budget of, $180 or $180 million. And they felt that that $2 million would serve them well by just eliminating those programs that have been around for decades. As I said, the men's team, 71 years, 46 years. And my fear is it will be an avalanche of programs, those Olympic type sports that you're going to see eliminated by some of these other SEC schools. And for the life of me, I don't understand, because the SEC has plenty of money, and we know that these programs have been operating in the red for years, supported by the football team and primarily the men's basketball team. But why did you choose to just eliminate that $2.5 million to operate not only the men's team, but the women's team as well? Two teams for $2.5 million. It seems like a bargain. And you have a good programs too. They make the tournament. They're competing in the tournament, NCAA tournament. So I think it was just short-sighted, and I'm hoping that the rest of the conference, they don't choose to follow suit and eliminate sports such as the men's and women's tennis team or some of these other ones that are on the docket. To be part of the FBS level football with the NCAA, you have to have 16 sports minimum. So by eliminating those two teams, Arkansas will be down to 7 for the men, 10 for the women. That'll be 17. So they're one over the minimum of 16. If you don't play FBS football, you have to have 14. So Arkansas is right on the cusp. So, but anyhow, I just want to advise people to look at our website, our YouTube channel at AP As We See It. We conducted all those interviews at the NFL draft, the pre-draft interviews on Wednesday, and then the ones on Thursday and Friday as well. And I'll be covering the Women's Beach Volleyball Championship at Gulf Shores this week. Texas is the only SEC team at Gulf Shores, but I'll be there. So you can look for those photos, interviews as well in the coming days, Friday and Saturday. The championship is on Sunday. We'll be having that coverage as well. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode of AP As We See It. And we'll be back next week with another episode of AP As We See It. Thank you. Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greers.com and use Groceries to Go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it.